G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. We are here on Gorge to witness ourselves the Battle of the Titans. Ladies and gentlemen, spawning in the south of the map in the color purple, playing as the English, it's Zato. And on the north side of the map in the color pink, playing as the Holy Roman Empire, it is X. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gorge. It is a pleasure to have your company on this, what day is it today? You know, one of the things about being a YouTuber is that you just don't remember what day it is. Like, every day is just the same day. You just wake up, and I think that's a good thing and that's a bad thing. I mean, I remember when I was unemployed, it was kind of the same thing. You wake up and every day is just the same day. Hold on, let me check my watch. Oh, it's on sleep mode. It's a Monday. It's a pleasure to have your company here on this Monday. Ladies and gentlemen, today we've got ourselves a little bit of a special event. Occasionally we do get these ones that creep in. As you guys will know, generally we do typically cast the higher end of the ladder. You know what I'm talking about, the beastie cuties, the marine lords, the puppy paws. But today we've got ourselves a little bit of a show match. Today we're bringing it back a little bit, going down to our roots. We're going to be casting some diamond action because recently there has been one player who has been taking the ladder by storm. Now, I don't know whether you've heard about it. Maybe you're a Redditor. Maybe you're not. But if you're not a Redditor, I'll fill you in. There's a player by the name of X, this guy right here. And rumor is he goes for a Burgrave every single game and manages to pull off victories with it at the diamond level. And he's climbed all the way up from what was originally bronze and made his way up to diamond. So I wanted to investigate this a little bit further, find out exactly what the plan is here for him, witness this and study, because it's going to be a little bit twofold in the sense that, number one, we're here for entertainment, but at the same time, if I can leave you guys with maybe a little bit of education as well, we will look at that. So let's take a bit of a look here at the start. Seems pretty reasonable. He's got a good balance here with the prelate. You can see that it's just within distance of those villages under the sheep. And it looks like we're going to have our Archon Chapel coming up shortly. Keep in mind, he is playing the Holy Roman Empire, and that's normally something that you would expect to see. When it comes to positioning for this Archon, I think the best spot is going to be right here, next to the wood line, gets the gold, and also gets the town center. Let's see where he opts to go. There you go, 10 out of 10 positioning. Now, the question is, could he have gotten that a little bit closer to the wood line? I think he might have been able to, because you've got to remember that the Archon Chapel is a drop-off point. So one of the things that you can do is min-max in that way, where you don't have to make the lumber camp. So I think that that's probably something that he could have done, maybe gotten that bad boy a little bit closer. But other than that, looks like he's pretty well. I'm going to go with a 9 out of 10 on that one. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, our English player has thrown down the Abbey of Kings. Now, keep in mind the Abbey of Kings, it's a great landmark. I think that it has really transformed the way that the English play. So I'm excited to see exactly how Zato looks to implement the king into this opening. But one of the things to note is that the Holy Roman Empire, typically, they want to be going for that fast castle strategy. They want to be getting up to the castle age so that they can look to utilize these relics. Normally, they want to be going for the Regnitz Cathedral, but one of the things that we know about X, he doesn't quite go for the Regnitz just yet. He's still a big fan of the burger, and I'm going to be honest, there was a stage of my life where I was a big fan of the burger. I still love the burger. I think it's amazing. I kind of prefer it to the Regnitz. It's good for maps where you're close to the opponent, and this is definitely one of those maps. So we'll have to wait and see how he looks to play this out, but my suspicion is he'll be focusing on getting up to the castle age quickly. Another thing that we might look out for is whether he throws an outpost down on the gold. It's really important to keep your gold secure, especially when you're playing up against a civilization like the English. They've got a lot of tools that they can utilize to force you off that gold, whether it be the king nice and early, or whether it be longbows with their 7 range. But the age up now comes through, and X reaches the feudal age, immediately puts the prelate inside. Decent micro at this stage of the game. 2 villagers on wood, so perhaps not quite looking to go into any military production at this stage of the game. Just going to be going straight up to castle age, which is definitely the recommended point of call here. One of the things that will start to happen, though, as he continues to climb the ladder, as he continues to get a little bit higher, what will happen is that players will work out. They'll do the math, because one of the things that I typically say when I'm coaching is at the platinum level, you don't really need to think too much about your enemy. But at the diamond level, that's where you really start to think about, okay, what is my enemy's civ? What are the things that they're capable of doing? And what are they doing? But it's at the conqueror level where you actually start implementing those counters to what your enemy may be doing. So as an example here, the Holy Roman Empire, they love to take the relics. So at the conqueror level, you might see somebody playing the English, come out and wall these relics in, so that it's going to be harder for X to come out with the Holy Roman Empire prelates and pick these relics up. Whereas at the lower level, it's not going to be as common that you see that. But we do see an outpost coming up for X here. Beautiful little spot that he's got here, right underneath the town center as well, so that there's really no risk. Even if the king was to come in, he's going to be able to defend it. The other option that he had was to put the outpost on the outside here. It does technically give him space for an extra farm as well, but I think that this is overall a pretty decent position, especially because it's a safer spot. So well played to him, but look at the scouting as well coming through already. Not only does he see the town center coming through from the English player, which is on the gold mine, great little spot here for him, but he also sees the king coming back. Have a look at this. Now, I know you guys might be wondering, well, hold on a minute, Drongo. I'm a diamond player, and you haven't casted me. What's so special about this X guy? Well, let me tell you. Back in my day, I used to be a big fan of Overwatch. I used to play Bastion. That was my go-to. Now, unfortunately, they've changed Bastion. He's not as cool as he used to be. But one of the streamers I used to watch was a guy with a big schnoz. And he goes by the name xQc. And he's still a pretty big streamer. And he started recently picking up Age of Empires 4. And oh my lord, he's actually making a Regnitz Cathedral. This is impressive. I've been lied to. I was told that it was a Burgrave only, but not today. But now we may actually witness a really good learning point right here. So if we take a look at where X is building this Regnitz Cathedral, you'll see that it's quite a bit of a distance between the town center and this landmark, which means that the king has got a really good opportunity to come in here and try and attack these villages, which means every time that he does that, X is going to have to fall back. He's going to have to come back over. So one of the ways that X could have better positioned this Regnitz Cathedral was to actually build it right next to the town center. That way the king not only has to dive all the way under the town center, but if the villagers are threatened, he can just simply pop them back inside and then all of a sudden pop them back out when the king is gone. But anyway, getting back onto why we're casting this game. So he's a relatively, I guess you could say, well-known content creator, streamer, YouTuber, reactor, and well, he's picked up the game. So I thought, you know what, we'll take a look at it. I know Beastie's done a video recently as well, taking a look at it. But for me, the big thing was the Reddit post. You know, as a moderator on Reddit. I feel like any sentence you start off with as a moderator on Reddit, it's going to end one of two ways, and neither of those ways are good. Like, that is just one of the worst ways you can start a sentence. Like, I feel like I should have been tipping my fedora a little bit right there. But anyway, one thing to note that we could see from X that we're not seeing just yet is prelate production. So, with the Holy Roman Empire, they have access to the prelates in the Feudal Age, technically in the Dark Age. But in the Feudal Age. So what you can do is you can look to produce prelates from your town center in the Feudal Age and actually get them out onto the map to pick up relics before you even reach the Castle Age. And then the moment that you reach the Castle Age, you click on these relics, pick them all up, and run back to the Regnitz, and that way you've actually managed to snag yourself relics a lot quicker than what your opponent can actually deal with. But we do now start to see barracks coming here for X. It's going to start moving into men-at-arms. This is going to be a second barracks he's throwing down together with a blacksmith, but there is going to be trouble in this town, unfortunately, as the barracks will come up, but the question's going to be about whether the villager goes down, and it looks like it almost will certainly be going down right here. There it goes. So Zato going to be picking up the first worker kill of the game, but the men-at-arms are now out on the field. Back on the other side of the map, though, we'll ride on board with Zato for a little bit, as it does look like we've got a white tower coming down, going for one of the most famous builds that you'll see on the ladder these days, the 2 town center English fast castle into the white tower. An incredibly potent strategy. So one of the things to be careful of from X's perspective is just diving underneath this white tower. The white tower does a lot more damage than your standard town center does. So normally, whenever you see this, it's going to be important to get some sort of siege, like bombars, like trebuchets. These are really important siege pieces that you're going to need to tackle this white tower. We'll ride back on board with X and see how he's doing, as we do have the first prelate out on the map to pick up the relic. Now, one thing that you can do with the prelates is you can rally them. You can shift queue them. So in this circumstance right here, we did see X idled out for a little bit in this situation, and that's going to cost him a bit of time here. But the first relic is on the way back, and that's going to be a really good start for him here. Normally, when we're playing the Holy Roman Empire, if we can get to 3 relics, we're happy. If we can get 4 relics, we're very happy. And if we can get 5 relics, we're a little bit upset because it's going to be a very easy game for us. And we like a challenge, but second relic now going to be coming through for X as well. Now, has he scouted out all of the relics? We'll take a look and see. It doesn't look like he spotted out this central relic down here. However, he has spotted out every other relic that's on the map. And take a look at this. Not only is this relic being camped up by Zato, but X is going to clear it. And not only will he clear it, but if he manages to turn around, which he's going to, that scout is not going to be lasting too long. He gets away by the skin of his teeth. Jeez Louise. Very, very fortunate there for Zato. But I tell you what, impressive by X. The fact that he's able already to identify that, you know, I'm going for a relic. It's not the safe relic, right? Like, it's the central relic that is going to be potentially contested by my opponent, and he brings out the troops. So now that's 3 relics that he's going to have in the bag. You can see the second one is going to get deposited. So now my question is, are we going to be seeing a fast Imperial coming out of xQc today? That is my question, because there is an absolute powerhouse of a strategy where you go very quickly to the Imperial Age as the Holy Roman Empire, and instead of going for the big castle landmark, the Elsbach Palace, you actually go for the Palace of Swabia. It's a little bit wild. Oh, look at that micro coming out. The Duke's being brought through. I'm too busy focusing on my Swabia Marbia, and then you've got... Nice try. Nice try. Really, really well done. And by the same time, by the same token, Zato there doing a good job of just keeping the prelate out and about to the point where the crossbows can come out. Now that we've seen crossbows out on the field here for X, my question is there going to be a counter unit that comes out here, or is the Madman just going to look to run men-at-arms down the middle? Because it is an option. It does have diminishing returns, is probably the best way to say it, with the crossbows. But these kind of numbers, these are probably, they're bordering on the best numbers that you'll get with the crossbows right now. But it looks like we've got the upgrade for the men-at-arms coming through. They've got that heavy axe. Now coming in a little bit of extra damage just now through. He's also looking to pick up heavy maces, which will give him bonus damage against armored units. So the king, as an example, is an armored unit. And have a look at this. We've got a monastery coming out here for Zato. No relics in it just yet, so we'll keep an eye out on that one. Meanwhile, back towards the base of X, we do see it's going to be a siege workshop coming down, and I'm loving this. This is one of my most favorite compositions to play as the Holy Roman Empire. And the reason why is very simple. The counter to men-at-arms, or at least to Holy Roman Empire men-at-arms, is the crossbow. You can't make the knights against them. I mean, technically, you can make the knights against them. You can make whatever you like against them. Whether that's going to win is a different story, because remember that your Holy Roman Empire men-at-arms have this nice upgrade here, heavy maces, which gives them extra damage against heavy units like the knight. And typically, you would say, you know, like the knight does very well against the men-at-arms. Well, not quite so against the Holy Roman Empire men-at-arms. So, because of that, the crossbow is the natural counter to the men-at-arms. So, X, knowing this, throws down the siege workshop. And we have now the potential for mangonels to get on the field. You guys know I'm a big fan of mangoes. I eat them pretty much every day when they're in season in Australia, typically. Normally around the summer months. So at the moment, we're in winter. We've had a really cold day today. So I know all you Fahrenheit enjoyers out there are probably going to be a little bit confused by what I say, but it is 0 degrees in Australia right now. And that is cold enough to freeze water. That's probably the best translation I can give to you. So I don't know exactly where the Fahrenheit threshold crosses over. But let's take, you know, speaking of Fahrenheit, let's check in with Zato and see how the temperature is going over on this side of the map. Villager count is starting to rise for Zato. So he's looking to scale in this game. He's up to 63 villagers at the moment compared to X on 40. But one thing to note is that the relic difference is in favor of X. Now, he's managed to pick up 3 relics this game, 2 going over to Zato, and you might look at that and think, okay, it's only 1 relic's difference. It's not a big deal. Well, it's not a big deal, except for the fact he did go for the Regnitz Cathedral, which means each of his relics is worth double. So now, all of a sudden, instead of that being 3 relics, it's more like 6 relics, and all that gold that's coming through, that's all free. It doesn't come out of gold veins, which means the longer this game goes, the better it gets for X. On top of that, you've got to consider the fact that when these armies start to get bigger, villagers are going to make up a large part of the population from Zato, whereas for X, a lot of that population is just going to be in relics, and it's going to be non-existent because relics don't take any population. Mangonel number 1 now has arrived, and look at the upgrades coming through. Not only do we have +2, but it looks like we've got devoutness. Yeah, devoutness. I always want to call this one benediction. I think they got rid of benediction. Do we still have... Yeah, I think they got rid of Benediction. It was an older upgrade. They combined it. Compounded? What's the past tense of combined? Combined? Compound? I feel like it's compound. How would you compound... How would you combine these words in the past tense? We'll have to think about that. We'll ponder that another day. Let's ride on board with Zato for a little bit, because one of the things to note for Zato's army is everything's going really well. He's making lots of crossbows, but not so much of anything else. A couple of men-at-arms are on the field, and at this stage of the game, X is in a great spot. The only issue is he can't really push into Zato's base because he knows about the White Tower. Like, you can come up here, you can take out these production facilities, definitely, but you're not going to be able to get past the White Tower. You're not going to be able to make the killing blow here. The other thing that X has got to be careful of is he's keeping all of his army, including his mangonel, on top of these sacred sites, and the enemy can see this. So if I'm Zato right now, I'm jumping over to my White Tower, and I am clicking that springled button as fast and as hard as I can. But ladies and gentlemen, speaking of hard, I am slowly getting there because it is time. Mango's on the backside. We're going to keep an eye on them. Keep in mind, this is double mango, so it is going to mean we've got one-shots. Oh, he's thinking about it. He's having a think. Not willing to take it just yet. Mangonels continue to roll up. Just going to look to focus down some monks, but the healing is pretty solid today. First military production building goes down. Mango off the top rope. Just a couple monks he's going to find once again. He could look to try and hit. There's plenty of them. And there's that Springled that has come out now. This is going to be difficult for X. He's going to have to fall back. The Springled should be able to neutralize both of these Mangonels. And that's exactly what he does. Men-at-Arms continue to move forward, though. And big Mango shots off the top rope. Able to take out a couple of crossbows. Still a pretty decent mass. He's going to fall back. But at the same time, the second Springled has arrived. Big shots once again into the thick of it. Both of the Mangoes go out. And it's the double-pronged attack from the Springleds coming out today from his opponent, able to neutralize completely the threat of siege here. At the moment, there's only that Mango threat, no Trebuchet threat at this stage of the game. But wow, some good micro coming in at the diamond level already from Zato. That is impressive stuff that we've seen throughout the game. Not only do we have this cute little king ring around the rosy, but now we've been blessed with this sprinkled micro. Lovely stuff to see. Now, Zato has held at this stage of the game. Let's do a quick check-in with the economies, because his farming is absolutely through the roof. At the moment, you can see 1,400 food a minute. At the moment, looking at somewhere in the region of about 3.3k resources a minute, compared to X, who's sitting on a similar amount, a little bit lower, 2.5 or 2.7, 2.8k, somewhere around that. So about 500 resources a minute difference. But have a look at this. X going for a bit of a transition. 3 stables going to be coming down here. Now, normally when you see this many crossbows, the best option for you is mangonels. And when your opponent says, well, I'm going to make springalds, they leave themselves open to a single unit. The question is X going to find it? And yes, he is. It's the horseman. So you might be tempted in this situation to click on knights, right? Because knights are the castle age units. They're stronger, they're better, they're faster. They can't possibly be beaten, except for the fact that they are armored units. They're heavy units, and they are countered by the crossbows, as long as the crossbows are kiting, right? And at this level, the diamond level, that is something that we are regularly seeing. So one of the things I would love to see right now for X is that transition into the Imperial Age. And one of the reasons why that is a faster transition into the Imperial Age is just because your opponent is on 2 town centers, right? We scouted out this second town center before it was completed. We knew about it. So the sooner we can get into the Imperial Age, the sooner we can start offsetting that villager difference. So if we take a look here at these villages, you've got access to the Swabia, which is cheaper than the Elsbach Palace, and produces villagers faster than a normal town center, and produces them cheaper than a normal town center. So it is a really, really great landmark to have. Springle's turning around. Now keep in mind, that's the king going down. It's not FFA that we're playing, so it's not going to end the game just yet. But Mangonel off the top rope. It's decent. It's beautiful. He hits the first shot. No second shot to follow up. Spring's going to move forward here. Looks like X is going to be able to trade out. Gets a 2-for-1 on the back. Loses the Mango, though. Spring's just going to look to try and focus down. Men-at-Arms continue to surround on that front line. Meanwhile, towards the south side, look at the micro. He's got a single Men-at-Arms together with the horseman down here, but he's still going to end up losing both of the Springalds. Men-at-Arm numbers looking good. He's managed to overwhelm his opponent completely, lacking that kiting ability. We see Zato losing out on all of the crossbows. Now the Men-at-Arms begin to make their way through. He's got the prelates in here as well. providing that divine inspiration, and xQc pushes himself into a wonderful position early on in this game. We're at about, what, 19 minutes? Somewhere around that region early on. The only issue is there is a very big tower standing between him and victory. The White Tower, notorious for its color, as well as the fact that it is quite... well, it's quite a big landmark. Have a look at that. I mean, you wouldn't want to meet this guy in a dark alleyway, that is for sure. And let's have a look as he begins to fire his arrows down upon the units below. Men-at-Arms, keep in mind they do have their +2 upgrade, but we see more Springalds coming out. It's going to be free pickups here for xQc inside the base of the opponent. We could be witnessing the game right here, right now. This could be it. The Men-at-Arms slowly starting to take villages down. The first one of the game we've seen X manage to take out. There's the second one, third one, fourth one about to go down. Fifth one there on the berries. More Men-at-Arms come through. A little bit of a repair on your Springald. How are you doing? Not too bad. He's managing to keep it alive, but unfortunately the Vils go down. And now X is in the base, killing your dudes. And it's not feeling that good right now to be a Zato fan. Meanwhile, back towards the base of X. We'll check in with him and see how he's doing because he's running rampage through his opponent's base. The gold is starting to stack up to 2.4k gold. Plenty of wood in the bank, so he could be thinking about maybe getting a little bit more siege out on here. But look at this, still producing plenty of horsemen, plenty of men-at-arms, a very food-heavy composition. And take a look at this. Zato says, you know what? I'm a little bit scared of these men-at-arms. I think it's going to be a good idea if we fortify this position. So to me, this is just screaming right now. Let's go Imperial Age. Let's finish this guy off the way that it should be. But he brings the villager count down significantly from Zato's side, taking out 20 workers so far through this game. Keep in mind, there it is! There it is! The Swabia transition comes through. Exactly what we needed to see right now. Perfect timing. Really, really well done, but can I just remark on the fact we've got traders coming out. This is quite early on in the game to see traders coming out. Now, here's a little tip for you. Just something that you can take. Maybe you're a fan of trade, maybe you're not. Typically, the longer a trade route, the more return you'll get. So that's both the gold number will be higher, and if you were to, math it out, the market, when it's placed here, is going to get you less gold in the long run than a market that's placed over here. So normally what you'll see players do is they'll place down one market towards the early game, maybe like 10 minutes, 12 minutes, something like that, and that'll just be in their base, and they use that just to trade resources. But then later on in the game when they say, you know what, I think we need to get some traders out onto the map, they'll look to put down a second, maybe even a third or a fourth or a fifth market down on the edges of the map so that they can trade across. All 3 sacred sites now taken. Swabia in the bank, now going to start printing villages, but we do see a bit of a transition coming in from Zato. It looks like a bit more of a focus on the barracks, a little bit more of a focus on infantry. Now, one of the big things I want to see from X here are these elite upgrades, so the Imperial Age upgrades. There's 3 in particular I want to see. Number 1, it's already on the way. You can see it in the top right-hand corner. It's elite men-at-arms. Really, really important for us to have this. Number 2, elite army tactics. It's available from the university. It's a technology that increases both your damage and your health of all your infantry. So this is for your Landsknechte, your spearmen, your men-at-arms. All of your infantry are covered with this. And the third and final upgrade is going to be level 3 ranged armor. This is going to mean that he can take a lot more hits from that White Tower before he actually gets taken out. So we'll have to see exactly how he goes about playing it. He's going to move into veteran or elite horsemen as well. But so far, so good. Now, one of the big things as well I want to see is spending those resources. Got a lot of resources in the bank, so one of the best things that you can do is just make sure you're always spending it. A little bit of a mistake right here with the Swabia and villages costing so little to produce. All you want to do is you want to hotkey this bad boy and queue up 20 villagers in this, rally them to wood. And then the general idea is we rally them over to wood, and then with those wood vills, whenever we get the extra wood, we just put down a whole bunch of farms. So the number I like to use is 8. I'll get 8 vills on wood, and I'll just transition them over to here, build a mill with 8 farms around it. Boom, done. Forget about it. And the great thing about it is it really synergizes well with the Holy Roman Empire because you want to be making men-at-arms, which are very food heavy. You want to be making horsemen, which are very food heavy. So it really synergizes quite well, but we can see beautiful base building coming through at the moment from X. A lot of farmland looking good here. All 3 sacred sites taken. 8 minutes to go. Elite upgrades coming through for the Landsknechte. But have a look at this. Zato bringing out one of the most formidable compositions in the game, and it has been for the last couple of seasons. Spearman crossbow. Nothing really beats this, as long as you've got a mangonel in the back with a couple of springles to protect them. As long as you've got that combo, you're fine. It really is the Exodia of Age of Empires 4. The one thing to note, though, is that Zato, at least at this stage, he's missing the headpiece. There is no mangonel, and that's definitely, that is the head of Exodia if I've ever seen it. If you take a look at Exodia and you look at a mangonel, basically the same thing. Like, realistically, yeah, okay, maybe not. But it's close. Have a look at this. Elite upgrades coming through now. Men-at-Arms. I don't see, do we have any Lench Connector on the field? There they are, there they are. Now, can we possibly get Ronald McDonald in today? I'm gonna try and get you Ronald McDonald. There he is. There he is. Beautiful, beautiful outfit right there. I know it's confusing. I'll change it back. But, wow. You love to see it. You love to see it. Are we going to witness... Well, we're going to witness sacred sites being captured or neutralized. Zato able to take it out. But have a look at this. Slowly, villager count is being caught up. Still no villagers being trained in the Swabia. So this is definitely one of those things where, you know, between the diamond players and the conqueror players, you'll see this as a big thing, right? Because even at this stage of the game, oh, we've got a Berkshire. Oh, it's a forward Berkshire as well. I mean, it's not that far forward, but it's still pretty far forward. But we've got ourselves a little bit of a battle beginning to unfold in the middle. Mango's moving up. He's got the triple on the backside. Getting caught out of position here. Spears towards the front. Nice trying to micro. Big Mango shots. Big Mango shots. Top ropers right there. That is for sure. Slowly but steadily beginning to move forward. He's got the elite unit advantage right now when xQc pushes towards his opponent. Springles on the front, looking to tee off. Managed to make a connection on the back line. Mango shots come through. Slowly that Berkshire's going to be coming online, but these elite units overwhelming his opponent right now. Springles nowhere to be seen, but the Spearmen are going to put their hands up and say, hey, we'll take that job. Meanwhile, X spots out the Berkshire. It's going to be coming online, and now underneath it, the Holy Roman Empire units have got a choice to make. Do we try and siege it down, or do we fall back? And the answer to me is clear. We need trebuchets. If we're going to take out this landmark, we need trebuchets. We do not dare fight beneath the might of 3 landmarks like this. This is too much for us to deal with. And X makes the right decision. Not only is he taking the sacred side, it sounds like Sacred Victory is back on the menu, boys. So get yourself and your schnozzers all ready to go, because, well, it is time. Let's get ourselves a little bit of UI back in and see what Zato is up to. Zato gonna be picking up some upgrades here. Enclosures, elite crossbows, elite spears, and lumber preservation. I like that. You know, he's mixing it up a little bit. It's kind of, you know, the wild card, the lumber preservation. No one goes Imperial and expects the Spanish Inquisition. Well, today your Spanish Inquisition is lumber preservation. Let's check in with X and see how he's doing. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So, if we talk about late game compositions for the Holy Roman Empire, it's really simple. This is how it rolls. 2 Culverin, 2 Bombards, 2 Mangonels, and 1 million Men-at-Arms. That's like, that was my poor attempt at doing a Dr. Evil 1 million. I would try more, but I'm, all right, I'll do it. Okay. I'm doing the finger. Just so you can visualize that. 1 million Men-at-Arms. I don't even remember. What's his accent? I don't remember Dr. Evil's accent. I just remember it was like a funny accent, and Mike Myers. I mean, he's English, right? So it's probably an English accent, but I guess he's an actor, so it could be anything. But speaking of anything, have a look at this, because right now, Zato needs anything to keep himself alive. X gonna move up with the Culves, but remember, the Culves aren't gonna be able to deal with this right here. This is heavy infrastructure. They're able to tee off on the back line, but X is in a little bit of trouble here. He needs something to deal with this Berkshire. I'm thinking Bombards, I'm thinking Trebuchets could work. You could also look at potentially Rams as an option. But one thing to note is that behind the scenes, he is facing a little bit of an attack. We did spot out a couple Men-at-Arms making their way over towards that east side. Fortunately, he only loses a couple of villagers. Throws in the prelates as well. Sacred sites have been neutralized towards the top side. A couple more units out on the map, and Zato definitely playing a defensive game at this stage. Swabi are not actually going to be producing many villagers. Now, if I could give a guideline as to how many vills you should produce, I would say a good place to stop is 130. And you might think that that's a crazy amount of villagers. Well, let me explain. We make 130 vills, and then what I want to see is a lot of production facilities. So already right now, for X, he's making heaps of production facilities. I'm trying to find my production facility hotkey. There we go, F1. So already you can see he's got 8, 3, and 5. So we're talking about 16 production facilities, which is really good at this game time. Normally my general rule is like 1 for every every 3 minutes, but that only lasted until the 20-minute mark, which is kind of weird because it was in intervals of 3 minutes. But that was the general rule that I followed. So at the moment, he's definitely doing really well. So as long as he's making enough units to be able to spend the resources that he's bringing in, he can go up another 50 vils here. But take a look at this. Berkshire going to start working down the bombards. Slowly and steadily, the bombard's going to start working down the Berkshire. He's got triple bombard threat. Culves need to move up. They're falling asleep at the moment. I take it back. It's not the Culverin, it's the villagers. Elite men-at-arms on the front line for both players. Doesn't look like too many Lench Connector mixed in at this stage of the game. Now the Micro comes in, Springald's on the back. Bombard's going to focus them down instead of the Culverin. Culverin just teeing off on the front instead. Bombards need to be focused on this Berkshire. That is what they're good at doing. That is what they're needed for. But look at this, the reinforcements coming through, the cavalry up the rear. A little bit difficult with the colors that we've got here. I do apologize, but we're not going to switch it at the moment. We'll just keep it as it is. Pink versus purple. We'll get a bit of a zoom going, and the Berkshire is falling. If the Berkshire falls, the English fall, ladies and gentlemen. And slowly and steadily, it goes down. He's working it. He's whittling it. But the crossbow numbers continue to build. Slowly, the reinforcements come in. Villagers going to get pulled, but is it too late? Oh, you know it's too little too late. I can hear JoJo singing right now, that 2004 hit single. You know it's just too little too late. But unfortunately, the numbers are turning. The horsemen are out. The men-at-arms, together with the Lench Connector, will have to fall back away from this. You want to know why? Because we don't have mangoes. We're missing that key piece. You know, we talked about Exodia earlier. The fact that we needed to see the mangonels out on the side of Zato, well, it's just exactly the same with X. We need to see the mangoes coming out for him because that's how we deal with this. 2 mango shots, and it's gone. Your nightmares are completely gone with 2 mango shots, but he holds on a little bit longer. At this stage of the game, score is in favor of Zato. It feels like we may have a little bit of a switcheroo. This entire game, I felt like X has been pretty far ahead, especially with that push. I felt like Zato was seconds away from typing in the 2 Gs, but we didn't see that. He kept it together, and even in that last fight, you know, once the Berkshire fell, I was like, okay, this is it, right? But the Zato, the fact that he kept that mass of crossbows on the back alive means that he's now able to transform into a big push. And have a look at this. X has got no answer to this at the moment. The men-at-arms are going to do well on the front line, but the problem is going to be these crossbows. And even though you've got horsemen, are there enough horsemen to deal with this many crossbows and the men-at-arms that are mixed in? I don't think so. And this is where we fall back to the mangonel, and why we fall back on the mangonel in this situation. We can see right now X going to throw 3 in the queue, very quickly realizing, you know what, hold on a minute, we need the mangonel. But there's another problem. To protect the mangonel, you're going to need a mass of units. You're going to need some big, beefy guys to stand in front so these annoying, pesky men-at-arms don't get in your way. And that's going to be trouble because he's got plenty of units. Unfortunately, they're all in the queue at the moment. Mangonel 1 comes out, gets a shot off, goes down immediately. Second Mangonel's already gone down. Mangonel 3 on the back line, looking for a conversion. Off the top rope, he shoots. He scores a 3-pointer, but unfortunately, it's bounced out off the rim. And X now still has to deal with quite a bit of a mass here on the back line. That could have been something beautiful, but unfortunately, the Mangonels came out on the wrong side of the siege workshops. Had they gone on the inside, he would have been able to protect them and funnel those units through the choke points. But unfortunately, wow, look at the reinforcements coming through from Zato. This is a big English push. You want to know why? He's got those English farms going absolutely crazy. Look at the amount of farms he's got out right now. We check his villages. 65 farms. Huge amount of military here on the field. Zato looking incredible. 8 times the amount of units the X has got. X, unfortunately, I think it might be over, mate. You know, we've called it already once this game for X. Now we get to call it for Zato. He's maxed 200 population. X, he's slowly scrambling to get it together. The traders are still out here. The Swabia, it's still not producing vills. Don't worry, we'll get it together next game, and that is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. That was a brilliant game, honestly. From a couple of Diamond players, I am genuinely impressed. That was wonderful to see. Beautiful swings, constant action. Fellas, go check him out. I'll leave a link in the description to where you can watch him live. I don't know if he really streams much Age of Empires 4, though. I'll say that much. You can probably catch him maybe gambling a little bit. Anyway, we'll leave it there, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.